Hi, my name is Frankie. Thank you for listening to my mom. I never listen.
Welcome to Nothing But Net with head coach Robyn Scherr-Wells from the University of Evansville. Coach, thank you so much for being on the pod with us.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
How's it going? Like Happy New Year, all that stuff. What's going on?
It's hard to know what date it is. It's just like, it just feels like it's nonstop right now. Christmas feels like it was a month ago. I don't know what day it is and all that good stuff, but happy to head into the new year and another chance at winning some basketball games.
I'm telling you, I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't know what day it is. I know what the date is. That's how I kind of operate this time of year. How do you manage it?
It's exactly, I don't always know what the day or date is, but I know how many games or how many days it is until a game day. So it's just kind of operating on, we're 2 days out from a game.
A lot of people, when they hear coaches talk about not getting practice time and then you're just going from game to game and you're just prepping for the next game. What's it like now this time of year when you do have some time to practice and you do have no academic work to worry about right now? How's that fit?
It is a nice time of year because I do feel like we're working on more detailed things than you can at other times of the year. Once school gets back into session, there'll be a little bit less time for that. So right now we are trying to take advantage of having a little bit more time and cleaning up some of those detail things, more breakdown stuff in practice, more chance to work on situational scoring, situational defense, those type of things. So trying to take advantage of these little windows where we can do that.
A lot of times when we talk situations, we always think about it from an offensive lens, but there are ATOs from a defensive perspective. And, I say the product is the narrative, parity is in our game. You better be good at situations because every game is going to be close, or it feels like it. How do you take a perspective on that?
Yeah, definitely. We do talk about that, and again, you talk about the things on the offensive end, but there's things on the defensive end, like you said, there's things that you can do in those defensive situations. Do you put your big on the ball, no matter who's taking the ball out of bounds? And then if you do that, what are you doing with the other 4 players? We do work on those type of things and talk through those type of things as a staff. How can you try to disrupt teams, on their advances at the end of a game? Just like you also try to anticipate what might they do to you to disrupt you.
So I love the situational talk. So let's go into some things about your philosophies, if you will. Like, do you always call timeout to advance the ball? Some coaches do, some don't always call timeout. How about 2-for-1s? Or how about, up 3, do you foul? Pick any of those or all of those and take us through it.
Generally I am a timeout hoarder. There's no question. So it's pretty rare if we're getting to the end of the game and I don't have at least 3 timeouts. So I am generally an advance it philosophy type coach. I want to get into the front court, especially with this group. We've struggled against some pressure in the back court at times. So, this year's team, just kind of knowing my team gets us a little bit more set into a spot where I know we can get the ball inbounds. So this group has been we would advance it more often than not with this group. But I do, there's certain teams where I agree it's not always in your best interest to advance it. If you've got, good inbounders and kids that get open really well, sometimes doing that in the full court is better than pushing it to the front court. So, to me, that's very much a year by year and a team by team situation. The 2-for-1, I love the 2-for-1. I love the 2-for-1 concept. We haven't harped on it as much this year. We did work on that quite a bit last year as a group. It's not a secret. We called it 21. I think anyone can figure out what that means, but just giving our kids, the mindset of understanding that we're trying to go for a 2-for-1. Years past, we've done it where we have certain plays. There's a certain play that we run on the front end of the 2-for-1, and there's a certain play that we, use the end of clock play. So I love the 2-for-1, and I love that concept.
Can you do all of those things, advancing the ball, the 2-for-1, because you've got a veteran point guard, and does that matter?
That definitely matters. Having kids that you trust in those moments that are going to implement, that they don't have to look back at you, that when they hear a simple, cue, that they can go out and run it and execute it. Yeah, it's great when you've got an experienced point guard that can be an extension of you on the floor.
Okay, how's the health of your team, and what are we working on improving upon in this break right now during the holidays?
We've been a very banged up team all season. It's impacted our depth, and fortunately, none of it has been season ending or anything like that, but it's impacted just practices, our ability to have everyone available in practice. Maya Clark's been banged up all season. She's playing heavy minutes through it, but it does impact the amount that we can practice with her. She had her knee scoped over the summer, and just kind of dealing with just the after effects of that. Abby Fight was really banged up last weekend in our, home openers for conference play. She wasn't her normal self. She's starting to look better this week, but just continuing, Barbara Tomazova, our starting post player, also been banged up all season, also had a bout with COVID, so it's just those things that impact your ability to practice as a cohesive team. I think we're still finding our way through some of that cohesion. And, again, haven't had a full squad in practice, I don't think, a single time this season, but some of the things that we're working on now is just, we've turned the ball over too much, this season, and that increased from last year, and just kind of trying to, first of all, figure out why. We're mostly the same players, but second, trying to clean it up. I'm not one of those coaches that's going, okay, that's going to fix itself on its own. We've played enough games now to see that it hasn't really gotten better. So we're working on it. So that's been a big thing, taking care of the ball, knowing the situations. And we've been working a lot on, kind of score, stop, score, or a stop, score, stop type situation. We've given up a couple runs in these first few conference games, and just, trying to learn some toughness through those runs and how we can minimize that.
I look at free throws and turnovers kind of in a similar lens. If you're not a good free throw shooting team, is this something that you talk a lot about with your team, or you just work through it? And if you're turning the ball over a lot, you're trying to preach to value the basketball, but they're just not getting it. Do you keep doing certain drills, or do you change up, or do you make it more competitive, or what do you do to get their focus on understanding the value of the basketball every possession?
We've started tracking it in certain drills. And I'm always a little hesitant that, because we play at a really fast pace, and sometimes with our pace, there's a certain amount of turnovers that, for me as a coach, I go, okay, we're going to have some turnovers here and there, because we do want to push the ball. We do want to, we're going to take there's acceptable challenges that we're going to take on with that. But right now it's just too high. So we've gotten to, and I don't want kids to overthink, because I do want them to play with freedom and do feel like they can go out there and try to make basketball plays. So we focused more on just the turnovers that I feel are a lot more controllable. Footwork type stuff, we're getting some footwork turnovers, the half court turnovers where we're really into our sets, and some of it's decision making, and those are the ones we're really trying to clean those up. But we've looked at it from all phases. We're back to working on different transition drills. We're tracking it in our half court offense. We have within a drill, like, okay, if we're running this 8-minute segment, we need to keep it at 2 turnovers or less. We're going to track that. So anything over 2 turnovers, we're going to run it down and back for, just trying to make them a little bit more conscious of valuing the ball. Okay.
So I'm taking a few notes while you're talking, because I'm thinking about a couple of things that you just said there. Taking care of the ball is important, right? We know that you can't turn the ball over. I think in years past, I have tried to push this with athletic directors, that I think in your contract, you shouldn't have a bonus for academics or for attendance, because I think those are byproducts of what your job is naturally supposed to be doing, helping your kids graduate and trying to put a product on the floor that's good, that people want to come and see. Okay. So if there was an incentive for coaches, not just you, but for coaches in general, if their team shot 45% from the floor and didn't turn the ball over more than 12 times in conference play, so you're going against teams with like resources and like competition, what would you say to that?
Oh, how do I get more of that? Can I get that on my team right now? Yeah. You know, I mean, certainly, like, I don't know that I've ever had a team that only averaged 12 turnovers a game. I don't know what that says about me as a coach, but yeah, you know,
There's
I mean,
not many out there, Robyn, that do turn the ball over less than 12 times. So
yeah, exactly. That's big bonus area right there. So
be bonus for the game for sure. Okay. Did you
yeah.
get everything that you wanted for Christmas?
No, because I didn't get wins coming out of Christmas. So no, I didn't get everything I wanted, but I got great time with my family. So, you know, that's what the holiday's all about. And, you know, now that I've got a young son, I mean, it's all about him and the pup. The pup was better at opening presents than my son was. He's still, I underestimated how hard it would be to get my 14-month-old to like sit and actually open a present. So we're about a year away from that, I think.
Well, you mentioned Jet, which is your little boy. And last year at this time, when we talked to you, you were adjusting to new motherhood, figuring out the balance in the schedule. You know, I always say there's a rhythm. There's not really a balance to what we do as moms, as career moms. How's it going with that rhythm with Jet and with your team and all the things that you're responsible for?
You know, some weeks it's just taking a day at a time. So, you know, this morning we had a 10 a.m. practice. I had a checkup doctor's appointment for Jet at 9:15 that I was hoping would only take a half an hour. We planned practice yesterday. You know, I told everyone, like, I might not be in there in film. Like, I hardly ever do that, but of course the appointment went long, and I made it in the gym about 30 seconds before we finished warm up. So I was here on time for the start of practice, but you know, like, that's just life as a mom. Like, couldn't change the appointment, couldn't change our practice time. So here we are. And, you know, just kind of take each day as it comes. Jet's in the gym a lot with me. You know, he comes by and visits, and the girls get to see him, and the girls get to see me kind of, you know, doing it all. And, you know, some days go better than others, but, you know, I'm really, really fortunate to be at a place like Evansville that embraces all those parts of my life, and that I do have a place at work where, because we work long hours, that Jet is always welcome, and, you know, get a chance for him to grow up around these amazing young women.
I 100% agree with that. I think it's important that the young women that you're surrounded yourself with get a chance to see you balancing all the things and the tasks and doing all of it. I mean, you can do it all. You just have to figure out how to do it. It's definitely doable.
It is.
I'm glad to see you're doing it.
Village.
You do. The other thing I want to ask you is the college football playoff situation has been unreal. I know you're a big Michigan fan. I tend to lean towards the Buckeyes a little bit just because I spent 4 years there. You spent 4 years at Michigan. When you're watching the college football playoffs, and I know you got a little soft spot in your heart for Michigan, how'd you handle that game?
You know, it was, I handle those football games a lot better, like, now that I'm into basketball. I didn't handle those games as well when I was younger, you know, and younger in coaching. As you get a little older, I think it's some of the extreme fandom. Like, I will always be a great Michigan fan, of course, but my team had lost that day, and it was just like, I was hoping Michigan would give me a little bit of the pick me up coming out of our loss, and it just didn't happen. And it was just kind of, to me, it was like the wah, and the end of an already like tough day for me. And then, you know, for them to just not have a very good start to their game and not be able, you know, they got my hopes up for a few minutes, and then it was just back to like, couldn't get a stop. And it just felt like it was par for the course for me for that day. It wasn't a good day for my team.
Well, it was quite remarkable to watch the playoffs, that's for sure. And it sets up for TCU and Georgia to have a great college football national championship game. Anything else for the good of the cause?
No, we're just, you know, we're excited to get on to our next group of games. I mean, for me in year 2, we're still building, and it was really tough for us to, you know, lose our 2 opening games at home, because we had chances, you know, and we just, you know, gave up a couple runs in both games. And it was just a reminder of, you know, we're still building. We're really, really close. Like, I really feel like we're going to win these games, but it's also a reminder to me, you know, as a coach and as the leader of this program, like, each day I have to be teaching our team what it looks like to win in all those little moments. And, these things, sometimes they don't happen, quite as fast as, of course, we all want them to, but I also, I know how hard my kids are working and the direction their program's heading. So I'm just excited to play the next game. It's just another chance to get better and win another one.
Well, that's the right attitude this time of year, because it is definitely in the grind. And I think there's times in our year where we have a lift around the play for K games, and then we have a little bit of a dip, and then we get ready for postseason. So we have another lift, and it does ebb and flow. And we're pulling for you, Robyn. We're hoping that you can figure it out and that your team keeps executing in those situations and find a way to get a W, because getting a W is not easy, and it requires a whole village to do so.
It sure does. Thanks, Debbie. This conference is an unbelievable conference. It's a grind, but it's really a privilege to be coaching in this conference. So many good teams.
We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.